the businesses that are parenting, that are having marriages, that are having issues, the real spirituality, like Lucy is just sharing. So, wow, I'm inspired, Lucy. I'm so inspired. So, tell me a little bit about. So you do you have your business, right? And you
Yes.
celebrate a lot your clients. Tell me a little bit about that process of every time that you help someone. What is the journey like for them when they meet
You know,
you? How do they go through the process?
yeah, so that discovery consultation, right? The very minute that I sit with them or the first time I speak with them, I come in really as a cheerleader. I want them to understand that this is going to happen for them as long as they keep the battle with me, as long as they stay on track with me, and that I'm not going to give up on them. They may get to a point where they feel frustrated, where they, don't want to gather their paperwork, and I turn mama bear. I really do. And for me, what that translates to is helping them have faith in themselves. Especially my women home buyers who may be single moms, maybe just out of college, starting their careers. And I love all of my clients, don't get me wrong, but there is something very, very strong in that scenario for me, just because I was a single mom. I had to move forward with my two children, and somebody had faith in me. And I want to make sure that all of my home buyers understand that even though they walk in and say, this might not happen for us, we don't have the best credit, we're not even sure that we can buy. I want them to understand that yes, they absolutely can, and that may be a bit of a journey. It may be, within a month that you're ready to go, but I will not let them lose faith in themselves. And it's amazing. I was speaking with one of my past clients earlier today, who's actually now going to be a loan officer on my team. And I'm training her, I'm helping her out. And she said something so powerful. And it was funny because I was thinking, wow, she's telling me this right before the podcast. But she said, Lucy, had it not been for you, I would not have even thought I could do it. She said, I was a single
Wow.
mom. You held my hand and I was able to do it. And I remember going to her housewarming. This was 9 years ago, 10 years ago, possibly. I remember going to her first place. She did it. She had just gotten out of a bad divorce. And I remember going to her house and looking at the smiles on her son's faces. She was a single mom to boys. And just seeing the smile on their faces, seeing the smile on her mom's face, just the pride that was exuding out of her. And that feeling, to me, I still cry when clients close on their homes and get their homes. And I've been doing this since 2004, 2005. So to me, it's just seeing their faces that they were able to do this, and that they're kind of in shock that they went the entire marathon and that they did it. And now they have this new sense of confidence and faith that I know they're going to carry into other avenues of their life. That's where, to me, it's a human experience. It's not just you became a homeowner
Wow.
and I got my commission. It is now you as a human being believe in yourself, and what you're teaching your kids, that when you're instilling in your kids for them to have faith in themselves and one day want to become homeowners is huge. You're teaching by
Wow.
example.
Whew, this felt like a spiritual journey. I always said, if I ever need like a mortgage and I need to buy a house somewhere where you sell them, I will do it with you. And even if people had the money or something like that, because it just felt, what you just shared with me felt like a mystical experience. It reminded me when I was going to India. I don't know why, Lucy. It's a journey. It's someone has faith in you and it propels you. And I love this. And I love that you're sharing this for all our listeners to find God everywhere, to find faith everywhere, to see how
Yes.
being a business owner is being really like a spiritual guide, a spiritual teacher, a spiritual student, because every moment is such an opportunity for us to grow, and doing it with such a pure intention like you, Lucy. Again, every time we used to talk, and we used to talk pretty often, right? It was
Yes.
the power of your focus and the real genuine care that you have for those who you serve. And also, if I may say, for your family, it's for me, it's such an incredible model of the leadership that we need in the future to be able to use our voices. Which takes me to the next part of
Mhm.
this podcast, which is the movements, the events that you are creating. Tell us a little bit about the events. Tell us about all the things that you are creating into the future to support women and girls, and why.
I came from a background, again, first generation. I came from a mother who spoke up about certain things. My grandmother, her mother, didn't speak up much about certain things. And that was just the way that it was, right? You kind of knew your place as a woman, so to speak. And for me, it's such an interesting journey to watch where, unfortunately, some of our cultures teach us to be a certain way as a woman. And I started noticing, I picked up certain things that my mom had as far as not speaking up on certain causes or concerns, and maybe just knowing our place. So I made it to where, unfortunately, because of a divorce, I think that transforms who you become. You learn that you didn't speak up on certain things yourself, and you were actually following the footsteps of how our mom was on some stuff.
Yes.
So, lacking a voice is the way that I say that she did not use her voice, and her silence carried on over to me on certain levels, right? With my relationship
Oh,
with
that's
my
so
children's
powerful,
father.
Lucy. Oh my gosh. I'm
Yes.
going to pause there because, in family constellations, there's something called silent obedience. And he just gave me, I just feel shivers in my body. Her silence carry on in me. Oh, Lucy, you come as my teacher. Okay, carry on.
Right. And there was moments where she unconsciously, you carry that over to us in the aspect that when there were discussions or conversations, I would speak up, and it was looked at as I was talking back. And you be quiet, you don't talk back. And instead of allowing me to have a voice, which talking back was not the situation, it was an opinion as a young girl. And I was taught to not have an opinion on certain situations because I was disrespecting my parents by talking back. That was both with my mom and dad on certain things. So I, in turn, did that to my daughter growing up. And it's one of those things that I had to work through just vigorously. And you were a part of that. Obviously, you know my journey with that. And I wanted to make sure that my mother's silence was going to be transformed into my daughter's voice, that my daughter would have choices on what she could do
Wow.
and that she would have opinions. And of course, that ended up happening later, where I had to tell my daughter, listen, I know that I did these things, and I'm sorry that because of how I grew up and I did not know any better, I did this to you. And it was so relieving to see my daughter understand that I honor her and I want her to speak up, and I don't want her to be this person that we are, the generational cycles, like I
Yes.
said, breaking
Yes.
those. And now I see my daughter, and she's about these movements, and these
Oh, I'm so
young kids
happy.
right now. Yes, they're just, they flourish, and I love that she has a voice, and I love that her friends look for her for her advice. She's just such a light, and I'm just so grateful. And I feel like my journey has brought me to this position where I want other young girls to experience that as well, that we are not dishonoring our parents by having an opinion. Of course, we always respect our parents and we honor them, but we also have a voice. We have to have a backbone. We have to be able to shine and put our light out there. And I am hoping to help young ladies do that by helping them have their own voice, helping them understand that we can become whatever we want to become, and that we have so many rights, and that we need to just take advantage of the opportunities that we have out there.
Wow, I'm making notes. You said such powerful truths here. One of the things that you really are the evidence of what my mentor Mark Walling says. It didn't start with us, but it can end with us. You are breaking generational curses. You are breaking generational trauma. You are actually passing on to your children and our children. No matter how much a parent, in my experience, I've been working in family constellations for 20 years and all that stuff. But no matter how much we work on ourselves and clean ourselves and want everything the best for our kids, still something is transferred. But in my experience now, our children are more equipped, more powerful. They gain confidence quicker. They have tools that we didn't have. And that's the duty of a good parent, to do it better than the generation before. And just to add a couple of notes here, actually, and us moving forward and heeding the call of our soul and speaking up our voice without, as you said, being disrespectful to, actually honors our ancestors and our parents even more. It's a beautiful thing for in systemic work, and it's a beautiful thing for the future generations. So, oh my gosh, my friend Lucy, I love your wisdom so much. So tell me about the events. How are you gonna? What are the events? What are the movements that you are creating? Tell us a little bit about that.
We're hoping to get young women together, small groups, and bring them together so that they can overcome certain things as a group, that they can see that they're not alone. And this is not just, I want them to have breakthroughs on different levels, where we'll do breath work, we'll do yoga or some sort of fitness event, to where they may be going through hard times in life. And I want to bring in other women, young women, obviously professionals at that point, who are going to be able to help me guide them and help them understand that it's not going to be as bad as it seems right now. And as you grow older, things fall into place. And I want to empower them by them understanding who we are as individuals and how we change so much as we get older. Number one. Number two, what we can do to set ourselves up as women for a future, whether it's our credit scores, whether it's our financial well-being, and how all of that is going to help us to flourish in life. But more than anything, it's going to be about them understanding self-forgiveness, self-love, and just embracing who they are at that moment. I feel like at that point in our lives as young girls, we question so much about ourselves, and we just think, when is this going to get better? And it can be anything, right? You can be a popular kid in school and you still have your struggles. You have to live up to a certain thing. You can be somebody who maybe is not so welcome and accepted, and it seems like the world is against you. And so what I want to do is create this safe space for these girls to become friends and rely on each other and understand that it is going to get better and that life is going to be what we make of it. And there's a community for them.
That is so powerful and that is so needed. And I love that you're contributing like that. And any plans on teaching women in this course, in these classes and these events? And I know you're such a powerful guide. You are going to teach them with their voice and everything. Also, a little bit about business, or is that all included based on how they feel about themselves?
Yes, so we're going to do this with young ladies. What I would actually love to eventually put together, and it's in the works, is actually having an event for women that actually attended our original events when we started Rising with Grace, and their daughters. So we've touched on this a little bit in regards to, it would be such a powerful experience for mothers and daughters to heal together, for them to have the experience that I had in the background with my daughter, in a setting where these girls will understand that maybe their moms are not the only ones out there, that we're a little bit out of whack. We, can get possessive, a little bit stressed out with work. We tend to want to protect our children and shelter our girls because of situations that maybe we had in the past. And for that reason, sometimes we clip their wings and we don't allow them to grow, which is another thing I did to my daughter. Being strict because that's how I was brought up, and not understanding that she needed to be able to spread her wings and fly. And I think it would be really powerful for groups of, small group of a few mothers and daughters to come in together and have a workshop together. So yes, we'll definitely make sure that